California. You got to find your Prince Charming inside first, and then he probably shows up out there. But to answer your question, not yet. So I guess really I haven't found it yet quite within. Who knows? But no, I have not found it out there.
This is why I love
like
you,
The
Greg.
Bachelor?
You balance my
Is it like the Gay Bachelor?
It is a gay bachelor series, basically the same thing. It's hosted by Lance Bass, and there's controversy all around it already. And the first episode does not air until tomorrow night on the Logo channel. But let me give you a quick backstory. We'll talk about it. Robert Sepulveda is the Prince Charming, quote unquote. He has 13 guys vying for his affection in a very bachelor-type setting where they do the whole bachelor things. But the controversy has been a couple of things. One, it turns out that Logo isn't a huge screener of their contestants, and Robert has a little bit of a past. He was actually an escort during college, was doing some escorting work during college. He would also filmed himself in a couple of videos to his boyfriend. And you never want to do that to a boyfriend because you never know how long you're going to be together. And the boyfriend leaked him to like that XTube site or something. So he has a little bit of his all out there on XTube, I guess. I don't know if it's been pulled down or not. So they have that. And it's then another controversy, not involving Robert, which kind of actually pisses me off a little bit more, to be honest with you, is they have one contestant trying to find Prince Charming. One of the 13 is HIV positive, and they're kind of making a big deal out of it by saying it's not a big deal, and I don't really know how I feel on that. Brandon, what's your thoughts on this? What have you heard about this show?
I Googled it real quick. Basically, it says that 13 suitors are all going to live in the same house together, competing for the heart of one of the nation's most eligible gay heartthrob, and they'll be eliminated one by one. And I guess the grand prize is that he will enter into an exclusive, that being a monogamous relationship with the winner at the end. So, I mean, I like the concept. I think it's great that we get more LGBTQ representation on TV. I just hope that it's not gimmicky or that it just doesn't become too ridiculous, is my take.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Greg, what's your thoughts so far?
What are my thoughts on this? Let's see. Well, I think it sounds like there's a juicy, delicious baker's dozen of hunks and men that this Robert individual is going to choose from, which could be fun. And yeah, I agree. I hope, although knowing that we're so programmed to watching like reality TV now, which doesn't really feel like reality TV because it's all pretty much scripted in a lot of ways. I hope I would hope that it offers an opportunity for people, to view us in the dating world in kind of a cool way.
Right.
But I'm a little leery about how it'll be structured and what that is going to entail, because I think I'm just so programmed to seeing bits of other reality shows like this,
Right, right.
But I don't think it'll be boring, especially if people are taking off their shirts. So
I think that will happen a lot. Yeah, I think it's interesting in a couple of ways. I mean, one, I think it's going to be definitely seeing same-sex couple in it is going to be very interesting. I mean, it's on Logo, so how many straight people are watching Logo, who knows? That's one point. But I think you're very right on the reality. We've kind of learned that reality is not really reality TV world. It's all how it's edited. So it will be interesting to see how they edit it. This guy, Robert Sepulveda, is a gorgeous man. I mean, he's a gorgeous hunk of a man. But, and a past, I think, in the LGBT world. Go ahead.
I don't know. He could do a few more. He could do a few more crunches. I mean, really,
There you go. But
just kidding.
What do you think the LGBT world thinks? I mean, we're kind of out front and open about we watch porn. So is him having done a porn video to a friend going to matter to a potential suitor as much as it might matter to a woman? I think that's a different concept that might not have been thought before.
Here's one thought.
Yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
I'll offer one thought. About a decade ago, on Showtime, a series came out. Just all the gays loved it. It was called Queer as Folk. I didn't even have cable, so I literally discovered it through a boyfriend that was watching it. And I was offended, Scott and Greg. I was offended at the archetypes, the character types. They literally, it's almost like they wanted to make a rainbow ice cream cone and package it together. Like, Steve, we've got one of these, one of these, and one of these. And the events that happened were so ridiculous. But guess what? We ate it up as a community. We ate it up. We bought the DVDs. We stuck with it all the way through, and it's still, listed out there. So I don't think whatever events, catfights, pillow, any drama that could happen on a gay bachelor type show is going to be par for the course, because you're talking to a community that loved shows like Queer as Folk. And if they wanted to make a Game of Thrones that was a little bit more gay, I'm sure we'd eat that up too.
This is very true.
Right.
I mean,
so are you saying, like, if you had a chance to kind of make Queer as Folk, are you saying you'd like to see either people more realistic or the characters more realistic, but I get what you're saying. I just wanted to kind of ask you that.
I think they did that, and I think it was called Looking, and I think we all thought it was boring and it got canceled. So I think
right.
did it right. They had to go hyper real in order to keep it on TV. Looking, everybody's okay, right? I see myself in there, right? I can see that in the mirror, and then canceled.
I think it's a great point. I mean,
right.
I got to say as neutral as possible, because I did see it, and I thought it maybe had a little stereotypes, but good friend of Left of Straight Radio, Del Shores, who's going to be on the show next week, was a writer in the series. So, Del, if you're listening, love Queer as Folk, love you. Just got to cover my own bacon here. But yeah, I think I think that's a great contrast from Looking and Queer as Folk. I think you're 100% right on that. That was a very good comparison. I like that a lot. Now, what do you think of the HIV option part of it? I'm hoping they don't exploit that, because I just don't know how I feel on that.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what they do with that, because there's such a, I don't know. I mean, do you guys agree? It seems like there's still a stigma about HIV, even though there's been much more awareness about that, and folks being undetectable and all that. So I'd be curious to see if, okay, there's somebody with HIV, so it would be great if they brought more attention to some of the stigmas that have gone on and what the reality is for folks who have HIV, especially those who are really super healthy and living wonderful lives and are, like undetectable, and what that really means, and that would be cool to explore. So since I haven't seen it, I don't know, but I'd be very curious, in fact, to now write about that, because that's kind of intriguing to me, because that's a whole juicy field to kind of get into that whole topic, especially the stigma and undetectable versus detectable, all that, and
right, with all the prep going on now
and
everything too. You're right. Yeah, we got prep involved now, and there's all sorts of different layers to it. So it's going to be very interesting. I don't know how they're going to play it. I don't know what my thoughts are. I hope it's not exploited, but I think it is seen as just another way of life, like any chronic condition is now. Like no more than having eczema or loop, whatever it happens to be. It's a condition, but it's very livable, and I don't think it's the disease it once was. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and think of this as well. So if they don't treat it respectfully, like, we're theorizing, but whether or not the person came out with the information or if someone outed him as being HIV positive, or if they treat him as any less than normal in the situation, you risk the possibility of turning off the pause community, losing viewers, getting angry letters, and people really protesting a show. So for their own sake, for a lot of reasons, they really need to treat it respectfully, honestly.
Right. No, I agree. And I think it is upfront on it, because I think they talked about it in the beginning. But it's going to be an interesting thing to see. It starts, like I said, tomorrow night on Logo. I don't even get Logo, so I'm going to have to try to find a way to pirate it, watching it somewhere. They don't have it on my cable system here, so I have to find a way to bogart it from somebody. But we'll see what happens. All right, let's move on and shuffle on here to our next topic. This is going to be all about you, Greg Archer. I saw you taking red carpet photos of the Rob Lowe Roast. And if you missed it, it was just on Labor Day night, Monday night on Comedy Central. How was that, my friend?
Well, that was pretty much the Ann Coulter roast, if you ask me. It was. Was
it as brutal as it seemed from the outside?
It was. Each one gets a little more brutal. I thought, how could they top themselves after something like Charlie Sheen and or even last year? But it's pretty brutal. And she really got a grilling. I had a chance to interview her on the red carpet, which was a bit surreal because it's like you're looking at. She's very sweet, she's a very sweet woman. She has a kind of like a diamond cross around her neck, and she's dressed in black, and she's uber thin, and she's really, stands by her convictions, and she's very like strong-willed, and so that's interesting. She's definitely in her own world, and I don't know if she has a sense of humor. It doesn't seem like she has a sense of humor at all. So it was a trip. That was a trip just to kind of meet her and go, okay, this is Ann Coulter. This is one of the most. This is like the world's supervillain right now, because of all the things that she's done and said, and even from way back when, from like being on Bill Maher's Politically Incorrect, like on ABC, I think, right? So, so that was a trip. But I would say it ranks for me, like, because I covered 6 of them now. This was probably like among the top, 4 or 5, I would say.
Right.
But I definitely think it was more like they really led into her. She did not use any of the jokes that they wrote for her. She chose to go her own route, which really, and she bombed. She totally bombed up there. I mean,
bless her non-comical heart. Oh my goodness.
I mean, she was showing her new book, in I can't even mention the name of it, but and she got booed and heckled. It was really quite bizarre and quite embarrassing. I thought, and uncomfortable to just kind of watch that. But other than that, it was, the others that were on the red carpet and even after party too. Rob Lowe was pretty gracious with everybody at the after party. You can really kind of come up to him and take pictures with him, and he's a really, really nice guy. I actually saw him in Maui last year. Serendipitously, it's kind of bizarre. It's at the Andes Hotel, but he's a really, really nice guy. Really nice guy. Interesting choice for a roast, but this year I thought there could have been maybe other people. So, yeah, it's very fun. I mean, it's just I would say Rob Riggle and the guy from SNL whose name I can't recall right now.
Is that Pete Davidson?
They were, yeah, Pete Davidson, really, really smart, really, really intelligently funny, and Jewel really nailed it too. She really nailed it. So,
nice.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably gonna replay the roast if people want to. Catch it, they'll be able to see it. But it's a trip. It's this whole little enterprise. People come up the red carpet, and you get to talk to some of them, and or not. You can say no. So I was next to Fox News, so of course I knew Ann Coulter was going to come up to me next. So yeah, pretty much a trip. But she's definitely in her own world.
Did you happen to watch the show at all, Brandon?
I didn't, but I, of course, have lots of social media feeds. I saw from multiple sources that Ann Coulter was bombing, and I'm sure it's no surprise to anyone that when I just hear the name Ann Coulter, that just fills my mind with, toxicity, and negative vibes. Not really. She's on the other team, so to speak, not a friend to the community. So
yeah,
I guess I'm not surprised that she bombed.
I don't know how to handle her because everything she says is so vile, and like Greg said, you thought that she's convicted and everything, but has strong convictions, but just with her friendship with Bill Maher, I mean, her and Bill Maher were very, very good friends. I think they still are. And I just don't
Yeah.
know. I thought it was an act. I personally thought it was an act.